how can Vingegaard be a match for Pogačar during the Tour de France? And if not him, anybody else?
We have 5 weeks. Okay, guys. I mean, we all know this. I mean, 5 weeks is nothing. We're gonna all be together talking about this, and it's gonna feel like yesterday. So if you're saying we now know he is on his bike again, I sure the hell hope so. He's on his bike, because what we just saw from Pogačar, who beat everybody by 10 minutes with one leg, I'd be on my bike. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Move podcast, talking about the third and final week, the overall of the Tour of Italy. Before we do, happy Memorial Day if you're here in the United States. Big holiday, Johan, not for you. You're over there
over here.
I think you're in Madrid.
But, I'm in Madrid as always.
3 Americans on the show. Really feels like 2 Americans today. JB and I are here holding down the fort, just grinding on Memorial Day.
Being normal people.
Just normal, just exercised this morning and just dropped my son off at his buddy's house. Big day, big Memorial Day for Lance. George, I don't know where you are. I try to keep up on your social media. I saw some stuff. Okay. At the Monaco Grand Prix.
I think you have my location. Don't you have me on Find Friends?
No. As a matter of fact, I asked you to give me that, and you ignored me. But I don't need it, because I see on social you just big timing, champagning, jizzy flying, yacht sitting over at the Monaco. What the fuck is? I mean, this is. I swear to God, folks. I mean, seriously, no, stop.
You guys have tasked me with one thing: is to make the Move a global brand. This is what I'm working on. I'm out there hustling.
When I die and come back, I want to come back as George Hincapie. I'm simply and seriously curious, and so is everybody else at this point. Where are you? What's up?
I'm in a hotel room.
Not on a Yizzy.
Not on a Yizzy. No.
Where is this hotel room?
In Mallorca.
Okay, so look at this, guys. All right, so we now okay. Hold on. All right, so we go Jizzy from Greenville to Monaco. You just stand around the paddocks.
I'm not commenting on the Jizzy part. That is not a confirmed.
All right,
that is an allegation.
We know. Oh no, no. We don't have to name names. I saw in the pictures. I know you jizzied over, and then you jizzy to Mallorca. I mean, this is, anyways. I mean, we have more important things to talk about, like the pure dominance of Tadej Pogačar, not just in this race, but we'll talk about his career thus far. Not a very long career, but pretty impressive. But no, this is, dude, I bet Tadej Pogačar wants to die and come back as George Hincapie. Has that crossed anybody's mind? Think about it. This guy's won 33% of his races in his career. And George, did not do that. Nobody's done that. As a matter of fact, George, of course, did 17 tours. But I mean, fuck. I bet he wants to come back as you. It's pretty.
As George post-professional cyclist career.
Golly. Let's take care of a little business. And now and we're not done with you, George.
George, you didn't comment on my text in the group chat when I called you a little divvy.
Yeah, because I don't think anybody on the team knew what divvy meant.
Divvy is British for diva.
Oh, that is a British word. Okay.
So we've got jizzies, yizzies, and divvy. That's a new t-shirt.
Hey, that's a new t-shirt for the
new t-shirt. All right.
Get the team on it.
We need Joe Natoli listening and getting on that.
Yeah.
All right. We need a whole new graphic, right? You got the jizzy. Anyways, today's show brought to you by Bicycle. Did you know that May is the best time of year to sell your bike and get the best price for it? Of course, we're coming to the end of May. Doesn't matter. I have a feeling this also trickles into June. You're 40% more likely to sell it now compared to the end of the season. Why? Because, now's the time to start getting out and riding your bike. Bicycle is our partner of today's episode, has over 20,000 road, gravel, and mountain bikes available, and makes the process of selling and buying a bike safe, easy, and convenient. it was great to see George Steinhauser get the first pro victory of his young career with the solo win from the breakaway on stage 17. I actually took a look around Bicycle, and they have over 300 Cannondale Super 6 Evo options, and there's some really great deals on there right now. I actually had one of those Cannondale Evos for a long time. It's a great bike. Additionally, whether you want to buy or sell a bike, Bicycle provides a bike box and packing materials for free. Use the code WEDO, that's WEDU, WEDO Giro at checkout for up to $100 off your new bike. That's over at Bicycle, BUY, bicycle.com. Also today brought to you by Caldera Labs. Gentlemen, we all know first impressions matter. So when you're at the Monaco Grand Prix and you roll up, right, you step off that Jizzy. I don't care. You weren't on Air France or nothing, but you roll up off the G6. All right. It doesn't matter, right? First impressions matter, right, George?
I love me some Caldera Lab.
Look, I mean, George is on that Jizzy, man. He's just swimming in Caldera. You probably bought a Caldera gift package or care package for all the pilots, the flight attendant, didn't you?
I need some more of it. I need them to send me some more. I'm running low.
Dear Caldera, don't you feel sorry for this man? Please send him some more product. So here's the deal. If you're not taking care of your skin, that's going to be the first thing someone notices and instantly either thinks you're way older than you are, or you just don't care about your appearance. Show them that you do and make a great first impression with Caldera Lab. Caldera Lab creates high-performance men's skincare products, and the regimen leads off their product lineup. That's a twice-a-day routine to transform your skin. Or if you're like George, you do it right when you're taking off on the Jizzy, and you do it right when you're landing on the Jizzy. Right? Don't matter where you're going, right? Europe, Asia. Now he's in Mallorca. Boy, a lot of sun out there, George. Make sure Caldera makes a great sunscreen. They
do. I use it all the time.
And just for our audience, we have an exclusive offer. This is their best offer available anywhere. Use the code WEDU, W-E-D-U, at calderalab.com. That's 20% off over at calderalab.com. All right, let's talk about the Tour of Italy. Enough picking on George for now.
And before we get too into it, I want to remind people to stick around to the end of the show because we're giving away a brand new Ventum.
That's right.
The NS1. I've got a name in front of me.
That's right. Who doesn't want free bikes? I don't know. I've been getting them. George, George gets Jizzies. I've been getting free bikes for like 35 years, but
I know you showed up with a fancy new bike in Bentonville. I was quite impressed with that. Beautiful paint job.
I know people want to talk Giro, but Lance, I saw some photos. Did you show up at the Breakfast Club ride yesterday?
I did. I showed up yesterday.
Or Saturday?
They've had this thing here. I don't even know how this thing started. I think it just started on a whim, but boy, they got police escorts, and it's called the Breakfast Club. And I think it's only once a month.
Once a month. Yeah. You're escorting, you blow through the lights.
And I tell you,
hold on. Time out. I'm sorry to interrupt. Did Lance did a group ride with people? Other people?
Fellow,
there's images.
Is there something that I'm not understanding here, or?
Well, here's what happened.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I rolled up. I was like, "Whoa, there are other Homo sapiens here." So I don't like no. I did. Yeah, Courtney, head of HR, shamed me and pressured me into doing it. And but I will say, first of all, JB, you know this. It's so hot here and gross and sticky. But there was tons of people out there, and with this police escort, we got to the first red light, and I was,
it's kind of awkward, right?
It's awkward. I'm going to hit my brakes, and man, these cops shut it down, and you're just like, for a group ride, and they stay with you the whole time. I was like, this is like
major intersections. They just go in and flick on the lights and block the whole thing and let 1,000 cyclists blow through.
Yeah. So George, yes, I did do that. I've been, hey, here's what's happening.
So maybe you'll actually, at least entertain my offer to join me on some of my rides that I do, my Grand Fondos, and not completely blow me off and not even respond when I ask you.
I have been training. I'm fit as fuck. I'm doing high rocks in New York City this weekend. Not as a pro, racing in my age group, or I don't know if they call it racing, but competing in
what is that, a running race or?
We need to talk about Tadej Pogačar here in a sec. But you can look it up. High Rocks, HYROX. So I'm excited about it. So I've just been training. So I went out on the group ride, and I felt good. I got caught out a little bit positioning wise, which I should know better.
That's what I was wondering. What you thought of the A group speed for
fast,
even for you, former pro in shape. You thought it was fast.
But hang on. I mean, I'm 52 years old. There was a point where I looked around and I was like, okay, there's a whole lot of 20 somethings here. What am I doing here? Anyways, can we talk about the Giro? Thank you. Johan is sitting there going, these fucking Americans, I could care less about what Lance did on a group ride and, how fancy George is. But look, there is not a whole lot to say, right? Tadej Pogačar, 6 out of the stages in a Grand Tour and not a sprinter, right? I mean, I think if you go back in the day, if you could think about some truly, truly dominant sprinter, I don't know, slipping off 4 or 5. Sure. A GC rider?
I think he won 6 stages because he only wanted to win 6 stages. He could have won more stages, which is, the sad part for the competition. But if you look at his dominance, I mean, winning with almost 10 minutes on the second. By the way, George, we have to congratulate ourselves for getting the podium right before the race.
Congratulations.
We didn't get the order though. We did. No. We had Pogačar, Geraint Thomas, and Dani Martinez. So that's the only thing we didn't get right. But if you look back, I've seen a lot of comments saying, "Oh, it was so boring and such a dominance. How is that possible?" And then I start to look a little bit deeper, and Tadej Pogačar is the number 1 cyclist in the world for a number of years now.
Yeah.
If you look at all the other participants, how many participants are in the top 25?
Say it another way.
How many of his rivals are top 25 in the Giro?
Points? Oh, in the Giro.
No. How many of the top of the world ranking top 25 were participating in the Giro?
Not many.
0.
Right.
So, I mean, of course it is a big dominance, but with all due respect for Geraint Thomas, he's not number 1 at Ineos. It's Bernal and Carlos Rodriguez. Dani Martinez is not number 1, not number 2. He's number 3 at Bora, behind Primož Roglic and Vlasov. And so, he's racing number 2s and number 3s of other teams.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's only logical that he is so dominant. Plus, it was a big goal for him. He prepared for it. We've said from the beginning of the season that it's our impression that Tadej Pogačar is on another level. I think we can safely say now that that's absolutely true. He's the best he's ever been. And, that kind of dominance, to me, it's not a surprise.
How close do you think he got to the limit during this Giro? Because if you see any attack was just just riding away. It wasn't a super aggressive attack. He doesn't have to. Do you think he ever went full gas?
Yeah, he did. The stage 1, he tried to win it. He couldn't. The only stage he tried to win and he didn't win, which was won by Jonathan Narvaez. The time trials, I would have to assume he went full gas, right? And then in my opinion, the only time he really was on the limit was the last 2 kilometers of that super high mountain stage in Livigno at high altitude. But other than that, I think this was, to me, it looks like it was a training ride, the preparation ride for the Tour.
Well, Johan, to your point, that just is what it is, right? I mean, here you have what is arguably the second biggest bike race in the world. Certainly the second biggest Grand Tour, and behind the Tour de France, if somebody was hard pressed to name another bike race, it might be the Tour of Italy.
For sure.
But meanwhile, we have this change going on in cycling. I mean, just because no guys in the top 25 were there, or that's just the way the sport. And we have, of course, had some spring crashes and injuries and other things that we couldn't control. It's just he beat everybody that showed up, then they didn't show up. So, but by the way, I mean, the difference between, if you look at the GC, the difference between first and second was him and Dani Martinez, call it 10 minutes. you got to go down to 9th place. So the delta between first and second is the same delta as second to almost 10th.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's insane. You never see that. I mean, if you take him out of the race, it's a damn good race.
I know.
But again, that's not the way this works, right? And as he should, it is still a marquee race and probably one that he was paid handsomely to do. I do not at all fault him for that. But one you want on your resume. I don't think he goes back to the Giro. I mean, I think this is the perfect year. When he signed the deal and agreed to do it, he didn't know that we would have these accidents and injuries in the spring for his main rivals. Mm-hmm. But now he's got it on his resume. And if he cruised through it and won by 10 minutes, good for him. The kid's a beast. I mean, what'd you say, Johan, in the pre-show? He's done how many professional races?
He's done 228 races he has now, and he's won 77 of them.
That's I don't even know how to get my head around that.
Just the diversity of the races that he can win. I mean, I was sitting with a friend of mine the other day, and he was talking about how he
at the paddock or on the back of the yacht or where? What kind of champagne?
This is actually in one of your favorite towns, La Turbie, having a coffee. And he mentioned talking to Tadej before.
Did you hang on? Time out. Sorry, real quick. Helicopter up there? Or how'd you get up there?
I biked, and I still love to bike, as you know.
Good.
And I love to bike with you, but you never want to bike with me anywhere except when I'm in Aspen. But that's besides the point. But back to my point, the diversity of the way this man wins races, whether it's a mountaintop finish or a time trial on occasion, or for me, the most impressive Tour of Flanders. But apparently for Tour of Flanders, and I know we're not talking about Tour of Flanders, he sat down with a friend of mine that we all know and said, look, I want my team to be at the front of this section, and I'm going to ride away from everybody there, and I'm going to win the race. And that's exactly what he did. I mean, completely Babe Ruth Tour of Flanders, which to me is the hardest one-day race on the planet. But that's the type of confidence and the type of power this guy has, that he can just beat anybody in the world at any discipline in cycling. And we're witnessing history, watching him doing what he does.
Look, it doesn't matter the sport. All the greats, and not every sport has a number on their back like cycling does. You stick the numbers on his back, and it doesn't matter. I mean, it legit could be a tricycle race. If there's numbers on his back, the kid's like, I would hate to be racing against that. Like, what do you do? Your mind goes to a bad place. You got no chance. Your mind goes to a bad place.
You can't find anywhere. I mean, he can climb as the best. He wins time trials against the best time trialists. He can sprint. He can ride on cobbles. He has a strong team. There's never going to happen anything to him in the wind. I mean, it's only a sickness or an accident that can basically prevent him from.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Your mind goes to a bad place. That's your only hope. Yeah. And he's not a lunatic, right? The success. You know what I'm saying? Like some athletes get to this level, and all of a sudden, the finer things in life get you. I don't see that happening.
He even said in this post-race interview that he feels good. He's finishing the Giro strong, and perhaps he might even have stronger legs in the Tour de France. I mean, can you imagine him being? Which, if you finish a race like that, not completely on the limit, every day recovering. Obviously, he looked pretty easy on the bike. It's going to be pretty wild to watch him in action in the Tour de France next month.
Johan, tell us a story about the journalist was asking his team manager. What did he ask him about?
Yeah, so it's a famous journalist here in Spain. His name is Juanma Castaño. You guys know him. He's interviewed you guys in the past. He has a TV show now, and he said, "Don't you think it would be smart to slow him down a little bit?" He says, in Spanish, he says, "Frenando," to break it, make him break.
Hit the brakes, make him hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes, yeah. And Machin, his team manager, said, like with a straight face, he said, "Se está frenando." He is hitting the brakes.
That's crazy.
And you know what? And I actually think that's true. He did not go full gas in most of the stages that he won. He did go full gas a few times, and I think his big test, in my opinion, was the stage 20. It's the hardest stage of the Giro. Those two climbs up Monte Grappa were really, really hard, And I think that there he really went full gas. He broke the record up Monte Grappa. The former record was set by Nairo Quintana in an uphill time trial. And so this was the second time they went up, and he beat the record by over a minute. I mean, the numbers he's producing this year are just out of this world. You know, he's 6.7, 6.8, sometimes even 7 watts per kilo. And if we go back to an earlier podcast in the season, we said, you know, we had this information from a source close to him that he knew what he had to do to beat Jonas Vingegaard, and it was somewhere around 7 watts per kilo. And so he's there already now. The theory is that he would normally be at least 1 kilo, 1.5 kilo lighter in July than in the Giro.
So, dear God.
That's not good news for anybody who needs to race against Pogačar.
See you in the douches.
Well, you look at Jonas watts per kilo is what he's been chasing, right?
Yeah.
Let's we need to talk about some other aspects. I mean, we can continue to talk about this. I think anybody that caught a fraction of it could tell you everything we know. Mm-hmm. But there was some other action. Obviously, we got the sprint game and all the other things, so we can talk about that. But before we do, today's show also brought to you by HVMN. We often hear that fasting and exercise are good for the brain. By the way, this morning it's like 100 degrees here. I got up, had my coffee, had the other part of my morning routine after the coffee, and then hammered my ketone IQ and hit one of these high rock simulations. This stuff works. Like I'm taking ketone IQ every day. And I don't eat before I work out. Even to your point earlier, JB, like before Breakfast Club, I just had ketone IQ, no breakfast. Works wonders. They did launch the world's first drinkable ketone in 2017. Ketone IQ is their latest innovation on ketones with better taste, effectiveness, and cost. Ketone IQ delivers clean fuel that crosses the blood-brain barrier, supplying your brain and body sustained energy, focus, and sharpness. By the way, they're also working with, and we can talk about this. I mean, how about this, right? They're working with Visma Lease Bike. Here's a team that's, God, they went from the penthouse to the doghouse real fast. They're probably sitting back going, okay, we got to this is not what we expected. Anyways, back to HVMN. You can save 30% off your first subscription order of Ketone IQ at hvmn.com/TheMove. That's hvmn.com/TheMove. Also today brought to you by AG1. Taking care of your health isn't always easy, but it should at least be simple. That's why for the last 6 or 7 years, I've been drinking AG1 every day, no exceptions, as well as my HVMN. This is like boom, boom. This is part of the routine. Even on, I travel a ton. So both of these companies, especially AG1 with the packets, they just make it so easy for travel. I take it everywhere I go. Just one scoop mixed in water once a day, every day. And it makes me feel nourished, strong, ready, and also makes me feel like I'm actually getting these nutrients that you're supposed to get when you eat fruits and vegetables, kids. Right? That's right. Uncle Lance, he's not real good about that. Each serving of AG1 delivers my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre and probiotics, and more. It's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. It is all about taking control of your health. If there's one product that I do recommend, it is AG1. And that's why I've been with them for so long. If you want to take ownership of your health, start with AG1. Try AG1 to get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Head on over to drinkag1.com/TheMove. That's drinkag1.com/TheMove. By the way, every time I talk about this and the free vitamin D you get, I did some blood work like 2 weeks ago, and my vitamin D levels are finally in the normal range. I have been chronically low, as is like half of the world, in vitamin D, and I'm finally in the normal range. I was kind of sick. I'm happy about that.
Maybe you have a future.
Listen, there was a whole lot of motherfuckers that counted me out. Well, let me tell you something. I got a future. I don't know what it is, but I have a future. I don't know if it's as fancy as George's.
I'm kind of nervous about our Aspen boot camp.
You are so
France show.
I'm going to give you. I mean, you're going to get the beat down. And this all just a reminder for the loyal listener. This all started in Europe when George called me fat and in front of other people as well.
Oh my goodness! Now the story changes,
and it's just been. I'm a different guy. I'm so laser focused.
Hey, the whole team is looking good. Look at Johan over here, looking great. He's lost a ton of weight. JB's looking great. I think it's good. We're on the healthy track, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to point out a couple of my favorites. I mean, obviously we can't only talk about Pogačar. He dominated the race, crushed everybody, but it's great. In my opinion, it was great to see Geraint Thomas back on the podium. We're only hearing about these young riders, 22 years old, 24 years old, dominating the sport now. But Geraint Thomas, 38 years old almost, has done a bunch of Grand Tours and still on the podium. Quite impressive, in my opinion. The brothers, Johan, I'm going to screw up the pronunciation, but the Penteri brothers. I mean, two brothers winning 2 stages of the Giro d'Italia. Think about that. I mean, think about the party that family will have. To me, it's very impressive. Steinhauser, the son of a former professional cyclist that Lance and I raced with, as a dad of a cyclist, to me, that is just like dream come true. Probably better for the dad.
And by the way,
he did in his career.
George, I don't know if you saw the images, but the stage that that George Steinhauser won, his dad was actually commentating that stage on Eurosport. So we saw the images.
I did not. That's just amazing. I mean, super emotional.
Yeah.
And then the resurgence of Alaphilippe. I mean, in the breakaways of the whole Giro, and then finally pulled one off. Very impressive victory over a group of very strong guys chasing him the whole day. Those, for me, were the highlights of the Giro. Just seeing all of that was super cool.
George, let me ask you another question, okay? How long are you going to be on this show with us? Are you going to be on this show? You think let me ask it another way. Do you think you will be doing the move with us in 10 years' time?
I hope so. Yeah.
Okay.
I hope so.
Well, no, it's a yes, no thing.
Yes.
No, it's better if you say.
Well, we all know how cranky Lance is, so you never know. We're like day by day with Lance, right?
No.
Like,
but so here's I mean, we are. Think about this, dude. There will be not just one. There will be multiple shows where we will be talking about, if I had to guess, we will not just be talking about Enzo Hincapie winning stages and big tours, classics, etc. But I think little Luca's got a little bike gene too. I mean, so if you stick around long enough, we're going to get to see it. Are you going to be? This will be good. Get George a box of Kleenexes. Christian Brunel, huh? Christian Brunel.
He's just starting. He's getting there.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Enzo is his big hero, so he wants to beat that.
We got to get him together to ride.
We better, if you want to see me cry about one of my kids winning a bike race, we better commit to 100 years, and I better start having more kids because it ain't happening with my 5. But
well, a couple other names we should talk about: the performances of Jonathan Milan and Melier, and even if you didn't see Milan on that last stage, broken chain with 6K out, and still got into the sprint, 8K to go, and still got in the sprint. Now he did get a fine, I believe, for following a car, but you guys usually forgive. That's broken chain. It's not like he got dropped. Yeah. But wow,
that was impressive. I mean, Jonathan Milan, it confirms, as being a very powerful sprinter. I mean, winning 3 stages, the Ciclamino jersey as an Italian. Last year, we could see already that he had that in his legs. But I mean, the match between Milan and Melier was actually really nice because Milan was dominating those first 3 sprints. Then Melier won one, and now finally Melier won the last 2 sprints.
Johan, what's happening here? All of a sudden, we're seeing these teams that all just got injected with a ton of capital. Lidl, Trek, Decathlon. Now they're becoming the super teams. I mean, yes, Melier won 3 stages, but they didn't have much of a team lead out going on, or any for that matter. Trek had a solid team. They had a plan throughout the whole Giro. They won when they wanted to win. Decathlon has won, somebody said on our thread, 22 races this year already. Capital gets in there, and it's making a huge difference on both of these teams that have been around for a long time. So yeah, what do you think about that, Johan?
I mean, just so you know, they haven't won 22 races in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah,
exactly. Decathlon's transformation is remarkable. You know, I mean, they win the Team GC in a Grand Tour, the Giro. You know, and they're winning everywhere and since the beginning of the season. So obviously something has changed there. I think they changed coaches and trainers are different. I saw an English or an Irish coach at some point there. But yeah, I mean, hey, listen, I mean, they're doing a great job. I would never have thought before the Giro that Decathlon AG2R would win the Team GC against teams like Ineos, for example, or I mean, UAE. Okay, it's understandable because they were focused on just their leader, but Ineos had a very strong team and they were no match. I think they win it by like over 10 minutes.
Wow. The extreme weather protocol came into conversation again, which I found interesting. And what I will say, and what I would say to organizers, athletes, press, UCI, anybody involved in this conversation, this needs to get figured out, right? And the way it gets figured out is obviously the athletes first, and I think we share this view. And whatever the protocols are, you stick to it. I don't care what the start town or the finish town or any of the towns in the middle pay the organizer to have the event. That's known up front. Hey, there is a chance that we have to exercise the extreme weather protocol, and we will not start in your town or your village or whatever. And that's known up front. This having the conversation on the start line or the night before, this is amateur hour.
It's really bad.
This has to get sorted out and known up front, and people just cross their fingers. Golly gee, I hope it's not snowing. But we know, right? It's stated and we stick with it.
This is typically for the Tour of Italy, Lance. If there's no chaos, it's not the Giro, right? And you know that if you have the Gavia or the Stelvio in the month of May, there's chances that this is going to happen. And then you know, at least have a feasible plan B. I mean, their plan B was almost as bad as plan A,
right?
Because they also went to 2,400 meters.
But the organizers are trying to appease the provinces or the villages or the local whatever that has paid them to be there. That has to be stated up front that, look, there is a chance, and if they have to default on or give back money or not, that's fine. I mean, look, we're gambling, right? You're gambling on the weather, and too bad, so sad, but you have to focus on the athletes, and it just doesn't look good, right? It should just be like, whoops. We're going to exercise this protocol.
Do they buy insurance policies? A lot of event sports have policies that may cover that cost if they didn't move it. I mean,
well, if they don't, they should, because you can insure anything. Mm-hmm. You can literally insure anything.
Yeah. So I mean, what was proposed was, you know, the typical, you know, it's proper to cycling. You guys have seen it many times. You know, this trying to bully the riders into starting in the town and then get wet and cold and then get in the cars and then start somewhere. That's just, I mean, that's so unprofessional.
And if you and you're having a day or 2 or 3 days of this press cycle of the riders. I mean, I saw one of the quotes was that, you know, this race is a joke. These organizers are idiots. I mean, that's not good for anybody.
No.
So this just needs to get established. And everybody knows that, you know, God forbid this happens, whatever happens, we're going to stick with it. And that's it, right? You should never get to the point where a rider is saying this race is a joke. It is the Giro d'Italia. I mean, I get it. It is hectic, and it would not be the Giro if there wasn't some you know, wacky things that go on.
Grande casino.
Yeah, grande casino, as they say there. But it's just a little bush league. I think we need to set it and stick with it and move on.
Yeah. 100% agree.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
appreciate that. I think we got
let's just look quickly forward towards what's coming now. You know, the Giro's done,
and then we have the bike giveaway. We got to give away that bike.
Oh yeah. Anyway,
free bike day for somebody.
Tour de France is coming very soon, and you know it's earlier than normal. In about 4 weeks, we're there already. And so, what do you guys think? Pogacar is obviously going to go full gas. He's going to recover properly. If he stays healthy, he is the number one favorite. We've seen the reports that Jonas Vingegaard is back on his bike training. He hasn't gone to altitude yet, so I think that's obviously going to be a bit of a disadvantage for him. But what do you guys think? How can Vingegaard be a match for Pogacar during the Tour de France? And if not him, anybody else?
We have 5 weeks. Okay, guys. I mean, we all know this. I mean, 5 weeks is nothing. We're gonna all be together talking about this, and it's gonna feel like yesterday. So if you're saying we now know he is on his bike again, I sure the hell hope so. He's on his bike, because what we just saw from Pogacar, who beat everybody by 10 minutes with one leg, I'd be on my bike. But it's only 5 weeks. I think one of the most interesting storylines is just how he is, right?
Are we going to get to see him?
That's a question.
Dauphiné, sweet.
Yeah. So we are just gonna. I'm super curious. Like nothing surprises me in cycling anymore, and then the way these guys can prepare outside of the races, like it wouldn't. If he showed up and won, I wouldn't be surprised. We couldn't have said that 5 years ago. We would have been shocked.
I don't know. I don't know how you recover from a punctured lung and all the broken bones he had in 6 weeks off the bike before the Tour de France. But like Lance says, I mean, we've been out of the game for a while, and these guys are doing things that we never thought possible. Showing up to a race like Milan-San Remo or Tour of Flanders or the Tour de France, for that matter, without racing, and many of these guys are winning. Van der Poel wins, these big races without really racing. So these guys are doing it, but after an injury like that, I would be shocked that he's at 100%.
He's going to be, I mean, if I can give one recommendation to Pogacar and his team, is finish him off in the first 10 days. Whenever you have the opportunity, just go and just put the maximum time in him. Yeah. Do not let him come back into the race, because Vingegaard is tough. He's always shown that he's super strong in the third week. He's not going to be the super favorite, so he can take the situation and say, okay, let's see what it is. And if they let him be there until the last week, I would definitely not count him out. When Pogacar,
and I think we're also going to see a tactical change. I mean, now this team and Pogacar are so dominant that we're not going to. You would think in that first week where the guys are still thinking, "Hey, I could beat Pogacar. I might put my team up and help him," or we're going to all work together because we're still fighting for first. The domination is so clear right now that I think if it was us, we'd be like, you're on your own. We're risking losing this race and making you do as much work as possible in this first week, 10 days. And we got to just keep fingers crossed and hope that you aren't as dominant as you were in the Giro.
Now, another bad news for all the rivals of Pogacar is that he saved his strongest guys for the Tour de France. This was not the A team. This was not the A team, and they finished all 8. They were really strong in all the mountain stages. But if you look at all the other candidates, they have Adam Yates, who was on the podium of the Tour last year. They have Ayuso, they have Almeida, they have Rafał Majka. Then they have McNulty, Pollitt, Sivakov, Marc Soler, Tim Wellens. I mean, it's crazy how strong this team is. And, they're stronger right now than Visma, Lisa Bike, Jumbo Visma from last year. They're the strongest team by far.
Yep. Well,
do you know if we're going to see any of these other top candidates in the Dauphiné or Tour de Suisse, Johan?
Dauphiné, we're going to see Primož Roglič against Remco Evenepoel. So that's
that'd be good.
Yeah.
My second question is that are those Dauphiné and Tour de Suisse not as critical as a Tour tune-up as they were historically?
It's changed. I mean, before you had to do one of those, but now it doesn't matter. They're ready, these guys, whenever they show up.
Yep. All right, let's give away a bike before George. Here's the other. I mean, keep in mind, guys, right? George is on European time, so it's coming up on 7. So what's that, G? Like roll down to the swanky lobby, maybe a couple cocktails with the fancy friends, and is that what's up? That's what's on the agenda.
I got a meeting. I'm promoting TheMove globally. This is what I'm doing. This is my agenda on this trip.
Show us proof.
I will say, I do love that you have. If you guys look behind, I do love that you have your door bolted. I mean, God forbid somebody come in during the move I mean, that's, boy, you know, I was walking the streets of Mallorca today, man. I felt a little nervous. I'm going to fucking bolt my door when I get home. Golly. Look at that. Let's get
that's actually the side door. Let's do the bike.
All right. I don't have more information because people just emailed in. So I don't know where this guy lives, but I'm the winner of the brand new Ventum NS1.
But hang on a second. He does not know?
He doesn't know.
Oh,
no, he doesn't know. They're going to hear it here for the first time.
Okay, good.
But I don't know any information on him. So just
well, we know he doesn't know, so that's good.
But our winner of the brand new NS1 is Joe Hughes. Joe Hughes. Congratulations.
It's not a totally unique name. There is a chance that we have two Joe Hugheses that listen to the show. Right? Bill,
we have an
Johnson,
email.
Right? I mean, it's not like Bill Johnson, but there is a chance that there are two Joe Hugheses. But if there's only one, Joe, you are the winner of a brand new NS1.
Congratulations.
Congrats. All right, we're going to get out of here. G's got to go have an aperitif, and
we're back for Dauphiné.
Yep. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see y'all later.
Hey, ciao.
Ciao.